how to not go back to toxic people. That will be the topic of today's video. My name is Jared Mello, and this is Mello Mentoring. I normally make videos about mental health, psychology, supplements, self-improvement, and relationships. So if that sounds interesting to you, please do subscribe and hit the notification bell. So, on to today's video. Oh, and one more exciting announcement. I sent over the final copy of my book, Radical Self-Respect, to the gentleman who is doing my website. So that will be here very shortly. I've used the quarantine to my advantage in this regard. So pretty cool. But on to today's video, how to stay away from toxic people and to stop ourselves from going back to toxic people. And it's a couple steps here. The first thing is to write down a sobriety list of that person. And to do that, what we do is we write down all of the ways the individual has been toxic for us. And as we begin to write all of those things down, it's cementing it into our minds how that person is. And whenever we might think about texting or reaching out to that toxic person, we should first go to our sobriety list and read that. And if we still want to talk to them after reading our sobriety list, well, there's not much else I can do for you. But that's one of the best ways. Another good way is to understand what we are trying to get from those toxic people in our lives. What need are they filling within us? And when we come to understand what they're doing for us, what that person is making us feel, then we can better learn how to fill that need in our own lives. Because most people, when they chase someone, they're chasing someone that they feel like is better in some way or is doing something for them, like making them feel powerful because maybe the toxic person is acting like they need to be rescued. And for people who have a saving complex, they want to be Prince Charming or a princess to save the prince. That's the need that's being filled, is that the need to feel like they're saving someone. And that need is best in use not in a romantic relationship. It's best used in another way. Maybe you can help people by volunteering your time or working part-time at some sort of helping field. But in the romantic relationships, that's not the best forum to be letting out our need to save someone. It's generally just a recipe for disaster. So understand that's only one area of this, but there's many other ways that people make us feel. Like maybe someone makes us feel powerful, or maybe someone makes us feel funny, or important, or special. Whatever those needs are, there's a way that we can cultivate those things in our own lives and look to it in our own lives. I know I was speaking to someone the other day who had a little bit of a chaos addiction. They loved kind of seeking thrills and going out with bad boys. And I said to her, you might want to find something that is going to replace that in your own life. Maybe it's going to be like a risque type hobby or a passion or a career or something that's a little edgy, whether it's jumping out of planes or becoming some sort of Instagram model. There's a way to get that in our own lives. And part of this is what? It's integrating the shadow into our personalities. When we become fully aware and both sides of ourselves, the naive side and then the dark side, can fully come together and integrate, that's when we are the best version of ourselves. And for a lot of people, it's really difficult to integrate their shadows because we all have a dark side. We all have evil within us that could come out at any time. Like, no one is just all good. And just like evil people are rarely just all bad. There's a little bit of both. And I think Alexander Solzhenitsyn says that the dividing line between good and evil runs through the heart of every human being. And I think he's absolutely correct. So we have to learn the ways to healthily let out our shadows. And so maybe we seek chaos. Maybe we seek thrill. And there's a way to get that in our own lives and to have a healthy outlet for it, as opposed to trying to seek them out in a romantic relationship or some other form of toxic relationship, whether it's with friends or family. I just mentioned romantic relationships because that seems to be the most prevalent way that people try to go back to toxic people. It's the hardest in that form. It's a little easier to not go back to a toxic friend, and a family member that's toxic can be pretty difficult too because they're family. But those are the ways to go about it. So to reiterate, we can write down our sobriety list of why we're staying away from someone. Maybe they lied to us. Maybe they mocked us, or whatever it is, make fun of us all the time. Write down what those things are, and write down all of them, so that the next time you want to text a toxic person or call them, you refer to that list first. And hopefully you won't want to reach out to them after that. Secondly, what you can do is try to figure out what that person is doing for you. What need is that person fulfilling within you, and try to find a way to cultivate it within your own life. And part of this is also integrating the shadow, finding out like what our dark sides of our personality are, and integrating them into our normal life. And there's ways to do that now. Like, for me, part of it is having goals that if I really achieve them, will be awesome. So whether it's my YouTube channel here or the book that I just am releasing very shortly, those are goals that actually get me excited. And down the road, I want to get into politics and into office, and so those goals excite me. And they're things that they're not necessarily like completely innocent goals. Like, some of it involves ego, like a political thing. That's not like a completely innocent thing to do. It's like, no, I want some of that recognition, and I understand that in myself. And it's not all bad to kind of act on that a little bit and integrate our shadows. But that's just me. That's how I've been doing it. How other people will do it is up to them completely. But a lot of this comes down to understanding ourselves better, learning about ourselves, what makes us tick, looking back at our patterns so we realize what we're really like. That's one great thing that AA and NA does. They have the step working guide. NA has a step working guide. And if you fill that out, even if you're not an alcoholic or an addict, you will learn so much about yourself and your defects of character, your patterns, your shortcomings, and so crucial to understand that stuff. Such important information. So with that, that's all I have for you today. Hopefully you can refer to this video when thinking about reaching out to one of your toxic exes or toxic family members or friends, and hopefully you won't do it. So with that, have a good one.